You were never lost. It might have felt that way to you throughout your life, and that's only because you just hadn't discovered yourself yet. And you might not have been wanting to look, looking inside to discover who we are. That's that journey of self discovery, self actualization, but it's also ascension, as I know it to be. And that's what we each move through as we live. We move through a process of coming to understand ourselves and accept ourselves in a particular way because we were born to become someone. And you're part of the universe. You had a role that you were meant to play. And you discover that you are not lost when you stop running. And that's the thing that most of us do because we don't know who we are, we haven't accepted it, and we've been programmed to believe something else. And I did that, so I do understand. But I wanted to bring that up because I had to talk about this because I saw the message. I receive these messages all the time from Wilhelm, and I will look at them like you might have, and I think, well, can I act on that? Can I do it? Well, now I have to because it's part of my plan as you have a plan as well. And the other thing that you will discover, it's organized. You're never late with it. It just, when you decide to accept it, then you are living your legacy. And many of us are discovering that now. I'm saying this because most people who would listen to this would be those who are wanting to know what is happening in my life and what is happening in the world. And Wilhelm gave us all of that. But that also was challenging for me to accept because we hadn't seen it before. When I started receiving Wilhelm's information in 1989, I hid from it like you might hide from yourself because I didn't know why it was happening. And then it gave me 36 years of a complete, coherent philosophy that could change your life, could change anyone's life, and could change our world. Accepting that was challenging as well. But as you look at the message that are on the site, any advice for today, you will see this one message that came through. And that is the one that I look at it and I thought, okay, I have to embrace that. I'm saying this because we all do the same thing. We're looking at that next thing we want to do, and it's like, am I going to do it? Am I going to believe in myself? Am I going to allow myself to become much bigger than what I ever was before? That's what we're each meant to do. But we need guidance. And we all look for it in various ways, but Wilhelm gave it to me for years. But I couldn't see it because I was living it. You probably couldn't see something that you've developed that has become so incredibly valuable now and you weren't even noticing it. That is the thing that we come to discover. That's why you will wake up one day and say, I was never lost. I just didn't know who I was. That's all. And we all do that. This is that message. October 28th, 2020. You were never lost. You stopped running. That sentence is the one each of you will say when you finally decide to move in a direction in your life that leads you to your personal empowerment. There's not one of you here who is not accomplishing this. We are speaking of your current global restructuring, beginning with you. You decided to be alive during this time because you knew it would provide you with the perfect opportunity to expand. And for most of you, that never occurs unless you find yourself under some pressure that you all feel individually and collectively. As we have said continually, we have given Roger information for decades that he didn't trust or believe, as you have done. You did this because you wanted to trust the unknown more, and you do better at it each lifetime, as does your world. We led Roger to one message in particular this morning with which we will end. But also, please know, we are putting this together with our message of yesterday where you thought you had to choose money or love. When you stop running from who you wanted to be, you will have money and you will never need to make a choice. February 21st, 2018. You are forcing yourself to become more. While force is a powerful word, it is It was used to describe the feelings you experience when it seems to you that some outside force is causing you to do something or act in a particular manner. You are doing that. In actuality, you think of it as the higher part of you that knows everything you want and desire, but at times you are just too frightened to go there. So a gentle push was required, again by you. Bravo. I could have never explained that to anyone else because we hadn't seen it before. When I would sit down and receive Wilhelm's information, I had a direct connection to universal consciousness. And then I discovered that it was aligned energetically to the astrological changes that were happening and planetary changes. And the purpose of it was we were moving through a difficult time in our world, restructuring, as Wilhelm called it, but that meant that it was for each of us to remember who we are, who we can become. My role was to develop this work. Now, everyone's not going to believe that because we have difficulty believing things we haven't seen. And I understand people haven't seen this because I didn't. When I started doing this so long ago, I had no clue that it was going to turn into the first verified consciousness raising philosophy ever created. It's, 17 years of consistent work. I've been doing it for 36, but there's 17 years that became a philosophy, and I will give you those documents because that's what I'm finishing now. And I'm saying that because we all hold back, and I know that most people won't do this work because it takes you into the depths of who you are. But the thing that happens, and I can talk about it because I've gone through it, so I do understand. You come out happy. You come out understanding who you are. You stop being afraid. You become much more confident. You become empowered. That's what's in this work. And so I'm going to leave several documents with you because I didn't understand it either. I didn't know how this had happened because I'm receiving information that's energetically aligned with any single person. Now I know that a bizarre concept, but I have to finish it because, as you will see in some of the documents, what Wilhelm has given us is something that will help humankind because it's an entirely new way of viewing ourselves in the world. And I will be 75 on Sunday. Today is Monday. And to tell you that everything that I went through, because I know you have been through things, and I will tell you it was all worth it. And everything that I have been through, it's all changed and all going in a completely different direction. And it's because of this work. That's why I have to change. Years ago, people told me I didn't understand it either, and you may have undervalued yourself. We all do that because we don't really know what we've accomplished. And that's what you'll see in some of these messages, always looking at what have we accomplished. But what I'll be doing is now is finishing all of this. Years ago, people said you should be charging $5,000 or more for this because it gives people everything they want. That was my self-sabotage that I can't do that yet because I didn't understand it. Now I do. And you'll see it because this is going to be the biggest discovery in humankind because it's never happened before because this is a work that says you could heal your world if you start seeing that every person has value and worth, and all they have to do is develop it, and this work will have any person do that. That's what has happened. And you were never lost. See you soon.